Now today we're going to talk about this ship. She's the Telamon. She was built in 1954 and this is her story. Now the Telamon was launched in 1954 and she was built by the Lambert brothers and she was launched as the Temple Hall. She worked hard as a coastal freight ship, trawling up and down the United Kingdom between Scotland and London and Dundee, Glasgow and all kinds of places like that until 1969 when she was sold to a Greek company. And over the following years she changed hands a few times, moving once to a Panama registration and then back to a Greece registration, and she was eventually sold to the Telamon Maritime Company in 1977 and she was renamed the Telamon. Now the fateful day for the Telamon was the 31st of October 1981 when she was en route from the Ivory Coast with a load of logs to be delivered back to her home port in Greece. Now, the Telamon was passing through the Bocaina Strait, which is the gap between Lanzarote and Fuerteventura, in extremely stormy conditions, and she sprung a leak. The skipper immediately turned the ship round and headed towards Arrecife, towards the port of Los Marmoles, where he hoped to be able to dock and make repairs. As the Telamon was approaching the harbour in extremely stormy conditions, it became obvious that the ship was in great danger of sinking. And in order to avoid the ship sinking in the harbour and completely blocking the harbour in Arrecife, the port captain instructed the captain of the Telamon to try and run her aground on the smooth sandy beach to the left-hand side of the port as you face the sea. The captain and crew did a fantastic job of obeying that order and they beautifully ran the ship ashore at the beach, which is called Las Caletas, and ropes were run from the ship to the shore to secure her through the rest of the storm on that fateful day in October 1981. All 29 crew members were taken off the ship safely. The owner of the shipping company came over to inspect it a few days later. A clean-up operation took place with a fuel bowser coming alongside and taking an awful lot of fuel that was on board the ship off it to prevent it from affecting the marine wildlife around it, and she was secured in place. And really that's where the story ended. So that's way back in 1981 with the ship sitting at Las Caletas Beach, and today in 2024 she is still there. So what happened in the intervening years? Well, the cargo was taken off pretty much straight away and put on another ship and taken to the original destination port. And then lots of arguments started over salvage rights and what should be done to it. The ship, as you can see from the picture I'm running now, was in a pretty sorry state already by the time she ran ashore, and nobody took much interest in doing anything with her for a number of years. For a period she actually became a home to squatters until the Cabildo decided that it was too dangerous a place for them to be living and they were removed from it. Lots of videos have been shot there, lots of divers have dived in the hull over the years to see what was interesting and to see the sea gradually begin to take the ship back under its wing and under its control. And in another storm in the 1990s, she actually broke in half, which is the picture we all know well of her now, kind of broken in the middle with the bow sticking up out of the water. Now, certainly in the years since I've been in Lanzarote, I can think of at least 3 projects which have been due to start imminently to scrap the ship and break it up into small pieces by cutting through the steel panels and taking them away and recovering them as scrap. And each time something's conspired to stop that happening. One of them was COVID, the pandemic, and there was a project for the Spanish Navy to actually dismantle the ship just before COVID hit, and then that was scrapped itself. I have no doubt that sometime in the not too distant future somebody will get that job and it will finally be done, if the ship isn't just completely reclaimed by the sea, which could happen in the next 10 or 15 years. So it's kind of a sad story, but the ship, the Telamon, has become a bit of an icon, and I still remember the very first time I drove past there on the road to Arrecife towards the King's House in Costa de Gizeh, and looked over my shoulder and there was a ship ashore, and I didn't know about it. I didn't know at that time that it was there, and it still is a place that draws lots of people, draws lots of attention, and there are a million photographs of it all over the web. So it's kind of a sad story that a ship that started its life all those years ago in 1954 in the UK ended up on the shores of Lanzarote, but it's also provided a lot of happiness and interest for people. And the good news is nobody was hurt when the ship was wrecked, and all of the nasty stuff aboard her was taken off before it caused any damage to the environment. So I hope you found that interesting. That's the story of the Telamon, Lanzarote's most famous shipwreck. Bye for now.